Yes.
Okay, perfect. Amazing. Okay, well, I'm Amy. For those of you who don't know me, we'll just do a kind of gentle yoga practice today. But if anything doesn't feel comfortable, feel free to adjust or skip in any way that you need to. We will begin on our backs today. So if you just come to the top of your mat and bend into your knees, you can grab onto the backs of your legs and just start to roll yourself down. And then just place your heels roughly underneath your knees. Then you can just start to roll your shoulders out to the side. Maybe your hands come beside you, or maybe on your belly. And you can start to heel toe your feet a little wider if that feels more comfortable, and rest your knees towards one another. So just take a little moment to settle in. You could even close your eyes if you wish. Taking this time to soften into your practice. Softening down your eyes, your jaw, your shoulders. And just bringing your attention to the breath in your body. Just beginning to lengthen your inhales, really thinking about filling up your belly and your lower lungs. As you exhale, allow yourself to completely let it go. Every exhale, just softening yourself down and towards your mat. From here, if your knees were resting together, we'll just start to bring our heels back underneath our knees, and then take your arms out nice and wide across the floor. You could even cactus into your arms, bringing your hands above your head. We'll start to take both knees down towards the right, so twisting at the lower half of your body. And then maybe start to look out towards your left if that feels comfortable on your knee. And then we'll start to lift our knees up center. And then lower yourself down to your left as you start to look out to your right. And then we'll lift our knees back up center. And then this time, start to hook your right foot on top of your left thigh. So you start to bend your right knee out towards the right side of your space, and you're really flexing into your right toes, sending them back towards that right knee. And you could stay here if this feels like enough for you in your body, or you can take another twist or take both legs back down towards the left. So at the same time, think about keeping this right knee lifting as much as you can towards the ceiling. And you could even give this knee a little assistance by pushing your left hand in towards the knee and lifting it up a little higher, so you start to feel this nice stretch on the outside of your right hip. Just stay for about 2 more rounds of breath. If you're in the twist, we'll come back center. And then we'll release our right foot down to the floor. And when you're ready, we'll swap sides. Left foot on top of your right thigh. Bend your knee a lot. Flex your toes back towards that left knee. Maybe you stay here, or you can take the twist. Both knees down towards your right. So focusing on left knee lifting up towards the ceiling. Maybe right hand gives this knee a little bit of assistance, so you can lift it up a little higher. We've got 2 more rounds of breath. And when you're ready, gently make yourself back into the center, and then we'll release this left foot down to the floor. When you're ready, right knee comes in towards your chest, and then start to reach your foot any amount up towards the ceiling. So starting to straighten into your leg. You can bend into your knee as much as you like, and then you can start to take your hands either behind your thigh, maybe even your calf muscle. And then once again, think about flexing your toes this time so they point down towards your face. And then just find a little gentle pull with this leg in towards your chest, but make sure your lower back doesn't start to lift up off the floor. If you're comfortable as you are, maybe you could start to extend your left leg all the way along the floor as well. Just make sure that left heel can comfortably touch down on the mat. And we'll stay for about 3 more rounds of breath. Just make sure you're nice and soft down through your shoulders. Make sure your shoulders are down on the floor. And just staying here a little bit longer, we'll find a little movement through our foot. So you can start to point and flex your toes, maybe even rotating out your ankle. You may even feel a couple of clicks. Come to stillness. We'll gently lower this foot back down to the floor, and we'll swap sides. Bring the left knee in towards your chest. Start to reach this foot up towards the ceiling, and then place your hands wherever feels comfortable. So it might feel a little bit different on this side. Just readjust as you need to. Flex your toes down towards your face. Option for right leg to extend along the floor. Just finding that gentle pull with the leg in towards the chest. You can always bend a lot into this left leg if that feels more comfortable. Finding a little movement, you could start to point and flex your toes, rotating out your ankle in both directions, getting a couple of clicks. And when you're ready, come to stillness. Gently start to lower this left knee in towards your chest, and then we'll bring our right knee into our chest. Wrap your arms around and just start to gently rock yourself from side to side. You could even grab onto your knees and draw little circles, starting to massage your lower back to the floor. And then this time start to grab onto the backs of your thighs. And then, sorry about my dogs. Gently start to rock and roll yourself up and down your spine, maybe a couple of times. Take a little bit of a massage, and then come up with your knees bent. And then we'll swing our legs to the back as we come up onto our hands and our knees. This is the most comfortable way for you to get there. Maybe reshuffling yourself about center on your mat. And then just make sure wrists are underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath your hips. We'll spread a lot through our fingertips, and when you're ready, take a deep inhale. We'll start to round through our spine. Really start to push the floor away and drop your head down towards the floor. And then on an exhale, start to lower your belly down towards the floor. Spread your sit bones way back behind you. Start to lift up through your chest and gaze forward. So another big inhale to round. Drop your head down. Really push the floor away, drawing your shoulder blades apart. As you exhale, lower your belly, spread your sit bones, lifting up through your chest, gazing forward. So go for a couple more at the own rhythm of your breath. So you can go as fast or as slow as you like. You could even start to find a little extra movement. Maybe you start to look back at your feet, taking it from side to side, drawing little circles or little figure eights. Just really tuning into any movement that would feel best in your body. Don't worry about what you look like. Ready? We'll gently make our way back into a neutral spine. And then from here, start to step your right foot all the way to the back of your mat, and then your left hand to the top of your mat. Then when you feel nice and stable, see if you can start to float your hand and your foot all the way up off the floor. So your fingertips reach out roughly in line with your shoulder, and then your heels roughly in line with your hip. Flex your toes a lot and point them down towards the floor. If this is feeling like a little too much balance for you, you can always drop this left hand down. Just if you are reaching your left hand out, reach it like you're shaking someone's hand. Really actively reach your hand forward as you send your heel back behind you. Just one more round of breath. And then we'll gently start to lower our left hand underneath the shoulder and lower your foot to the back of your mat. And then start to swivel your left toes out towards the left side. Drop your right heel. Start to shift your weight to your left hand and reach your right hand all the way up. Amazing. So you're looking out to the right side of your space. We just want to make sure our upper body's in line with our lower and that our left wrist is roughly underneath our shoulder. And then we'll start to reach our right hand up and overhead. So we're trying to reach our fingertips almost down to the floor as we really push our hips away from the mat, feeling a nice side body stretch. And then gently start to lower your hand all the way down to the floor. Swivel your knees underneath your hips. We'll swap sides. Left hand, left foot to the back, right hand to the front. When you're ready, big inhale, start to lift yourself all the way up. So maybe this left elbow has a nice little bend to it. Really reach your hand forward, send your heel way back behind you. Activate through your core, really push away from the floor. You got this. One more round of breath. And then gently start to lower your right hand underneath your shoulder. Gently lower left foot to the back of your mat. Swivel your right toes to the side. Drop that left heel. Reach your left hand all the way up. Check in for a moment. Wrist is under shoulder. Upper body in line with lower. And then we'll reach this left hand up and overhead. Really push the hips away from the floor. Feel a nice side body stretch. And then we'll gently start to lower this left hand down to the floor. Swivel your knees back underneath your hips. Spread your fingertips nice and wide. Tuck your toes. We'll lift our hips up nice and high for our first downward facing dog. So this nice upside down V shape with our bodies. So really go for length through your upper body so you can bend your knees as much as you like. Really think about pushing your chest back towards your thighs. Your heels definitely don't need to touch the floor. And then maybe find a little movement here, warm up through your hamstrings. You can start to bend into one leg, straighten into the other. You can take your chest out side to side, just wriggling around in a way that feels best in your body. And then when you're ready, we'll come to stillness. Add a nice big bend to your knees. Look up between your hands and then start to step your feet towards your hands for a forward fold at the top of your mat, taking as many steps as you need. Your hands could even start to lift up off the floor if that feels more comfortable. And then bend a lot into your knees to fold yourself forwards. We want our feet roughly about hip width apart, and it's two big fists in between our big toes. And then just really let your head hang nice and heavy, and we'll grab onto the opposite elbows. You can stay still, or you could gently start to rock yourself from side to side, maybe even forward and back. You can give your head a little shake or a nod. Come back into the center. Keep grabbing onto the opposite elbows. This time, bend a lot into your right leg, but see if you can straighten a little more into this left leg. And then continue to rock from side to side. So now you're kind of isolating this massage the back of this left leg. And then we'll start to swap sides. Bend more into your left leg as you straighten more into your right, continuing to rock from side to side. And then come to stillness. Neutralize through your legs. Release your hands down to the floor. When you're ready, big inhale brings you all the way up to stand as you meet your palms together above your head. And then we'll exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, we'll reach up. Exhale, bend into your knees, fold yourself forward. At the same time, we'll scoop the floor, and then inhale yourself all the way back up. We'll exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, folding forward. We'll do that one more time. And then this time we'll inhale to halfway lift. Hands come to your shins. Really start to push your chest forward as you start to lengthen through your spine. So you're creating this L-like shape with your body. Really think about shifting your weight forward to the tops of your toes. Roll your shoulders down your back. We'll take another deep inhale. As you exhale, bend your knees, fold yourself forward. Let all of that go. On your next inhale, we'll step right foot all the way to the back of our mat. And then we'll exhale this knee all the way down. When you're ready, big inhale brings you up, low lunge, reach your hands above your hips. So just check in, find your stability. We want to make sure that this knee is over our ankle and really dig this heel to the floor. So you start to activate through this front thigh, but at the same time, you get a little stretch through the back of your right leg. And then take a deep inhale. As you exhale, start to lower right hand all the way down to the floor underneath the shoulder, and then start to open your chest out to the left side of the room. So you're still reaching this left hand up towards the ceiling, but the palm now is facing out to the left side. And you could look up to your hand or down to the floor, just see what works for your neck. And then take another deep inhale. As you exhale, start to reach this left hand forwards, and then eventually inside of your left foot. And then just start to heel toe this left foot out to the left edge of your mat, and then bring your wrists roughly underneath your shoulders. And then you can stay as you are, or you can adjust in a lot of different ways. You can bring your right knee further in or further back. You could come down onto your forearms. You could tend up onto your fingertips and really open through your chest. Either way, just find a nice stretch through your hips. So really think about bringing your hips down towards the floor, but you're staying nice and active through this left leg. So you're still digging that left heel to the floor. It'd be a lot if we've been sitting a lot lately. Let's stay for about another round of breath. Already lifting back up onto your hands if you took any other modification, and then we'll start to heel toe this foot back in line with our hips so we can take our left hand outside of our foot, and then start to tuck your right toes, lift this right knee up off the floor, and then step back into a high or a low plank. A little bit of effort, so you can stay up onto your toes or you can lower down onto your knees. Either way, wrists are underneath the shoulders and you're really drawing your belly up and in. So good. When you're ready, lower yourself to the floor either from your knees or from your toes. We'll come all the way down. Really hug your elbows in towards your chest. And then when you arrive, untuck your toes. Keep your hands as they are. Take a deep inhale, roll your shoulders back, hug your elbows in. Point your toes, activate through your thighs. Maybe palms start to lift up off the floor. Take another deep inhale. As you exhale, lower your chest all the way down. Tuck your toes. Lift yourself up and back into downward facing dog. Upside down V shape with our bodies. The hips are lifting up nice and high. We're really focusing on that length of the upper body, so bend into your knees as much as you need. And then look up between your hands. Start to make your way to the top of your mat for a forward fold. And then when you're ready, big inhale brings you all the way up. Meet your palms together above the head. And we'll exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, we'll reach up. Exhale to fold yourself forwards. This time straight to our inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins, lengthen through your spine. On your next exhale, fold yourself forward. Inhale, left foot steps to the back of the mat. And then when you're ready, lower this knee down. On another inhale, reach your hands all the way up, low lunge. Find your stability, find your balance, really ground that heel to the floor. We're activating through this front thigh. Reaching up through your fingers, point your pinkies in towards one another to help roll your shoulders down your back and really open across your chest. Take another deep inhale. As you exhale, lower left hand down to the floor, and then when you're ready, open your chest out to the right side of the room. So keep reaching that right hand up. And we'll take a deep inhale. As you exhale, reach this arm forward and then eventually all the way down to the floor inside of your right foot. Heel toe your foot out towards the right edge, and then just readjust so both wrists are underneath your shoulders. So readjust yourself as you need to. If you need to shuffle this left knee a little further forward to get out of the stretch even more, feel free to, or to deepen into it, you can shuffle that knee further back. Maybe you come down onto forearms. Just really see what works for you this morning. And when you're ready, we'll start to lift up. We'll heel toe this foot back to the center, hand outside of our foot. Tuck the toes, lift the knee, step back into a high or a low plank. Readjust as you need, come down onto your knees if you wish. And then lower yourself to the floor however is comfortable. So maybe from your knees, maybe this time from your toes. Really hug your elbows in. Untucking your toes. Then when you're ready, big inhale, roll the shoulders back. Hugging your elbows in, lift your chest away from the floor. You're activating your thighs. Maybe palms lift, or you just keep a light pressure into your hands. Take another deep inhale. As you exhale, lower yourself down. Inhale, downward facing dog, upside down V shape with the body. And make your way to the top of the mat, forward folds. When you're ready, big inhale brings you all the way up. And we'll exhale, hands to hearts. Inhale, reaching up. And we'll exhale to fold forwards. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins, lengthen the spine. As you exhale, we'll fold forwards. Inhale, right foot to the back of the mat. And then we'll exhale the knee down. Inhale, reach your hands all the way up, low lunge. Amazing. This time we'll hook our thumbs and then we'll spread our fingertips nice and wide. Then you can just stay as you are, or option to really dig your heel to the floor, and maybe you could start to lift your chest up a little higher, wherever comfortable to maintain quality of your breath. And then when you're ready, start to lift yourself up. We'll lower our right hand down to the floor. Find that twist out to your left. And then this time, option to tuck your toes here and lift your knee up off the floor. So only if it's comfortable for you, you can always stay down on your knee. If you are starting to lift your knee up, just make sure you keep your hips relatively low so you're finding the twist through your upper body. And then we'll all start to reach this left hand forward and then eventually inside of our left foot. Lower the knee if it's lifted. We'll heel toe the foot out to the right, the left edge of our mats. Readjust yourself as you need. So this time you could even roll onto the pinky toe edge of your foot and then your knee comes out to the side if that feels comfortable for you. Or you can come down onto your forearms. You can tee up onto your fingertips. Find somewhere comfortable you'd want to stay for about 2 more rounds of breath. Bring yourself back to neutral if you had changed yourself up. We'll all start to bring this foot back into the center, hand outside of our foot. And then this time, just walk your fingertips a little further back. Start to flex into these left toes and pull your hips back any amount as you start to straighten into this front leg. That's it. And then we'll bend back into our knee. So we'll do this a couple more times. We'll start to extend and bend as we pull our hips forward and back. We're just starting to massage into our hips and our hamstrings, really warming up the tissues surrounding our muscles on the back of the leg. we bend back into your knee. We'll place our hands underneath our shoulders, tuck your toes, step it back into your high or your low plank. And then lower yourself to the floor, however is comfortable. Untuck your toes. This time, keep your hands where they are or in line with where they are, but we're going to take our hands outside of our mat or slightly wider. And then tent up onto your fingertips. We're bending at our elbows so they point up towards the ceiling. We're still activating through our legs. Point your toes a lot. Take a deep inhale, roll your shoulders back, lift up through your chest, and then keep your elbows lifting up towards the ceiling. That's it. And then we'll lower ourselves all the way back down. Take a deep inhale, lift your chest back up. And then this time, exhale, drop your right shoulder rather, down to the floor as you look out towards your left. And then a big inhale to bring yourself back center. And then we'll exhale, drop the left shoulder, look out to your right. And then inhale brings you back center. This time, exhale, lower yourself straight back down to the floor. Hands in beside you, tuck your toes downwards, facing dog. Take a little moment, reset, really spread through your fingers, lift your hips up nice and high. You can always walk your feet out here if that feels more comfortable. And then start to make your way to the top of the mat for a forward fold. When you're ready, big inhale brings you all the way up. And we'll exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reaching up. And then we'll exhale to fold forwards. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins, lengthen your spine. As you exhale, bend your knees, fold yourself forward. Inhale, left foot to the back. And then we'll exhale the knee down. When you're ready, big inhale, reach your hands all the way up. Take a little moment, settle in. Start to hook your thumbs and spread your fingers. Maybe you stay as you are, or you could lift your chest up a little high. And then bring your chest back to neutral. We'll start to lower left hand all the way down to the floor as you find your twists to the right side of your room. So maybe you tuck your toes, lift that knee up off the floor, deepen into your twist. And then we'll all start to reach this right hand forwards and then inside of our right foot. And we'll all lower the left knee down to the floor. Shimmying this foot out to the side, wrists are underneath the shoulders. This is where you can find any position that works for you. Maybe you roll onto pinky toe edge of your foot so your right knee starts to open out to the right side of your room. Wherever's comfortable, we'll stay for 3 rounds of breath. And then when you're ready, make your way back. Bring your foot back into the center, hand outside of your foot, and then walk your fingertips slightly back behind your foot. Flex your toes as you start to pull your hips back, straightening any amount into your leg, and then bend back into your knee, shift your weight back forward. So a couple more times, your own rhythm, your own pace, really start to massage into this leg. It'll feel really good, especially if we've been sitting a lot. Start to bend back into your knee. Hands come back underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes, step it back into a plank. And then lower yourself to the floor, however is comfortable. Untuck your toes like we did just before. Hands come a little wider, tent up onto your fingertips. Elbows are pointing up towards the ceiling. Take a deep inhale, roll your shoulders back, lift up through your chest, keep bending into your elbows, and then we'll exhale down. Inhale to lift the chest. And then as you exhale, right shoulder comes down to the floor, looking out towards your left. And then inhale brings you back center. We'll exhale, drop the left shoulder, looking out to the right. And then we'll inhale, back center. Exhaling yourself all the way down. Hugging your hands in towards your chest, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Pausing here, spread through fingers, plant your knuckles, your palms to the floor. Heels don't need to touch the mat, so maybe add that nice big deep chin. And start to look up. Between your hands, make your way to the top of the mat, forward fold. And then this time, inhale brings you all the way up. We exhale, hands to heart. And then this time, reach your hands above your head, hook your thumbs, spread your fingertips nice and wide like we did earlier. Take a deep inhale, stand up nice and tall. As you exhale, a little side bend out to your right as you really push your hips over to your left. And then we'll inhale ourselves back center. We'll exhale to the left, hips come out to the right. And then we'll inhale ourselves back center. Gently lower your hands back down to your heart. Inhale, we'll reach up. And then exhale to fold yourself forward. Inhale, halfway lift, hands to shins, lengthen the spine. And then we'll exhale to fold. From here, start to bend a lot into your left knee, straighten more into your right leg. We'll keep our left fingertips down on the floor. And take your right hand either out to the side, or maybe you start to open your fingertips all the way up. So you can add a little micro bend to that right knee if that feels more comfortable. You can look up at your hands if that feels good on your neck. And then we'll gently start to lower this hand down to the floor. Neutralize through your legs just for a moment, and then we'll start to bend into right knee, straighten more into your left leg. Right fingertips stay down, left hand either out to the side, or maybe you open all the way up. Always the option to look up at your hand. And then we'll gently start to lower our hand back down to the floor, neutralizing through both of your legs, maybe even giving your legs just a little bit of a shake. And then we'll step ourselves back into downward facing dog. And then when you have a nice stable foundation, so spreading the fingers, feeling the ground beneath you, you feel nice and lengthened. We'll just start to lift our right toes slightly up off the floor so that you can start to place them on your left Achilles, so the back of your leg towards your ankle. And then just find a little gentle pull with the right toes on the back line of this leg. So you start to deepen the stretch of the back of the leg just a little bit more. If this doesn't quite feel comfortable for you, you can always skip it. Just stay in our normal downward dog. And then we'll start to place our right foot down. We'll swap sides. Left toes come onto the back of the right foot or right heel. Gently pulling down on that line of the leg to help deepen the stretch of the back of this right leg a little bit more. And gently start to place that foot back down on your mat. Lower down onto your hands and your knees. And then sink back into a child's pose. So sink your heels down, your hips down to your heels. Keep lengthening through your upper body, and you can always keep your big toes together, but take your knees a little wider if that feels more comfortable. And you can just gently drop your forehead down towards the floor, just finding a little resting pose. You can always keep your knees together here and take your hands behind your feet and just let your shoulders start to roll forward if that feels more comfortable. Finding somewhere comfortable, you can just rest. Check in with the breath, doing a little scan of the body, really seeing how you feel, noticing if there's any areas of tension you're still holding on to. See if you can just soften and let go, surrender a little more. reaching your hands forward if they were behind your feet. And then maybe just taking your knees a little wider if they were together. Keep reaching your hands forward. We'll tent up onto our fingertips. So you start to lift your wrists and your elbows up off the floor. So you start to feel a deeper stretch on the back of the body. And then start to walk both hands or fingertips out towards the right side. So you can even start to bring your fingertips off your mats, really finding this lengthening of the left side of the body. You can always drop down onto the hands if this variation doesn't feel good on the fingertips. And then making your way through the center, we'll bring ourselves out towards the left. So starting to lengthen this right side of the body. Make your way back into the center. Gently dropping your wrist down to the floor. We'll inhale ourselves up onto our hands and our knees. Hello, Huey. Just make sure your wrists are underneath your shoulders, your knees are underneath your hips. We'll start by taking our right foot out towards the right, so it's in line with our hip. And then start to shift your weight to your left hand. We'll start to reach our right hand all the way up towards the ceiling. So we open ourselves out towards the right. And then take a deep inhale. As you exhale, start to softly bend into left elbow and then bring the right hand under and over towards your left. And then take a deep inhale, reach this right hand all the way back up. And then we'll exhale to lower, softly bend into left arm, bring that hand under. We'll do that one more time. So a big inhale to reach up. And then exhale to scoop that hand under. And then a big inhale will reach up. And then gently lower this hand back down to the floor. And then we'll take this right knee back underneath our hip and we'll swap sides. So left foot out to the side, roughly in line with our hip. Start to shift your weight to your right hand, reach your left hand all the way up. When you're ready, big inhale. As you exhale, scoop this hand under and over to your right. And then we'll inhale ourselves back up. We'll do that 2 more times, the own rhythm of your breath. One more. And then when you're ready, take your time. We'll reach our wrist back underneath the shoulder, bring the knee back underneath the hip, and then we'll swing our feet out to one side, come down onto your sit bones, and then cross your legs in a way that's comfortable for you. So if this isn't comfortable, feel free to just take another seated position of choice. Maybe that's on your shins, or you can place a blanket underneath your hips. And then when you're ready, take a deep inhale. We'll reach the hands above the hip. As you exhale, find a twist to your right, left hand to your right knee, right fingertips behind you. Sit up nice and tall, really open across your chest. And then maybe even look all the way back behind you if that's comfortable on your knee. And then on your next inhale, slowly face the front, meet your palms together. And we'll exhale, find a twist to the left. So sitting up nice and tall, really open across your collarbones, deepen the twist. Maybe look all the way behind you. On your next inhale, slowly face the front, meet your palms together. This time, exhale, lower right hand down towards the right. Bring your palm all the way down. Softly bend into your elbow. Reach this left hand up and over. Find this nice side body stretch on the left side. You can always deepen into it by walking this right hand further away. Maybe even drop the elbow, the forearm down to the floor. Just make sure you're still grounding this left sit bone down towards your mat. And then take a deep inhale, lift yourself up. And then exhale, swap sides. Left hand down, right hand up, and then over. Adjust as you need. You can always bend into your elbow. Bring it all the way down. Grounding right sit bone to the floor. And then on another inhale, lift yourself up. This time, lower your right hand down to the floor. Tent up onto your fingertips. Walk your fingertips as far out to the right as you can without moving your right shoulder. And then lift your left hand up and then grab onto the right side of your head, just roughly above your ear. And then start to gently pull your left ear down towards your left shoulder. So you start to deepen the stretch down the right side of the neck, and you may even start to feel it running down your shoulder, maybe even your arm. You could walk the fingertips further away if that feels comfortable, but make sure you're not pulling yourself out to the side as well. And gently start to lift up your head, release your left hand down to the floor. Right hand reaches up and then over to the left side, and then we gently pull right ear down towards the right shoulder. And gently start to lift up. We'll release this right hand down to the floor. Lift your head up center. We'll start to meet our soles of our feet together now, keeping your knees wide. But bring your soles of your feet together, and you can always shuffle your heels further away from you or closer together, depending on how your hips feel today. We just want to make sure we can sit up nice and tall, and then bring your hands to your feet and then your shins toward your elbows towards your shins. So you can start to shift your weight forward. So try and keep a nice long spine, avoid rounding into your chest just to get yourself down lower. Go for length, really keep your chest open. You can kind of gently push your knees further down to the floor with your elbows, but just going nice and kind with yourself, listening to your body's messages, honoring your body's limits. Gently start to lift up your chest, and then keep right knee bent. Left leg's going to extend out on an angle, and then walk this right foot in closer towards your thigh, and then reach your left hand actively down towards your ankle, and then reach right hand up and over. It's another side body stretch. So really reach this hand up and over. Feel this nice stretch on the right side of the body. Make sure your chest is nice and open to the side of the room. Avoid kind of caving in and facing your chest down. Really go for length. And then when you're ready, take a deep inhale, lift up your chest, lower your hand, we'll swap sides. Right leg's gonna extend, left knee's gonna bend, reach your right hand down toward your ankle, and then left hand up and over. Just any amount. Maybe for you, stay more seated upright if that's more comfortable in your body. Everyone's going to look different. And take another deep inhale when you're ready, and then lift your chest up. We'll lower our hand down to the floor, and now both legs are going to extend out nice and wide. And this isn't always everyone's favorite, but it's always a good one to practice. So bring your legs out just as wide as what feels comfortable. So maybe that's more closer together or even further away. Once again, we just want to make sure we're sitting up nice and tall, so roughly shoulders are over our hips. Maybe we just stay here. Bring your hands down to the floor and keep your chest upright. Just focus on pointing your toes up towards the ceiling so the thighs stay nice and active and we're not rolling our thighs in. If you're a little more mobile today, you can walk your hands in front of you and then slowly start to bring your chest down to the floor. But once again, still focusing on what the feet are doing. And again, avoid rounding through your spine just to get yourself closer. Just go for length. Feel just like this nice opening down that middle seam of your legs. Stay for about 3 rounds of breath. your chest was lowered, we'll just start to walk our hands back, lifting up our chest. We'll all bring our hands in front of us if they're somewhere else. Really press your hands into the floor. Actively use your hip flexors, so these muscles at the top of your leg, to lift your right foot up and then bring your foot center. And then we'll do the same on the other side. So if you can really lift this foot up off the floor and then bring your feet together, that's it. And then just a little space between your feet, sit up nice and tall. Take a deep inhale, we'll reach the hands above the head. As you exhale, start to lift or lower yourself down towards the floor. Hands can come to your ankles, your shins, maybe even your thighs. You can grab onto your feet, but bend into your knees and really hug your chest over your thighs if that feels more comfortable. You could even give yourself a nice big hug, wrap your arms underneath your legs, and then maybe over time you can kind of start to shimmy your heels further away as you bring your chest down towards the floor. We'll stay for just another 3 rounds of breath. Starting to release your arms, we'll all start to lift ourselves back up, and then we'll bend our right knee so it's lifting up towards the ceiling, and then we'll step right foot over our left leg and wrap left arm around. So hug this knee in towards your chest, sit up nice and tall. Maybe this is where you stay and you just start to wrap your right arm over top of your left, or you can take the full twist. Right hand can wrap all the way back behind you, really opening across your chest. You can always look to the back of your room. Once again, we're flexing into toes so they point back towards our face, just keeping that leg nice and active. And then when you're ready, slowly start to face the front, and then we'll release this right leg and we will swap sides. Bend your left knee. Step it over your right, wrap right arm around, sit up nice and tall. Maybe you stay here, or you can take the full twist, left hand behind you, opening across your chest, maybe looking to the back of the room. Don't you like when you're free? Learn not to hear keys. Only hold till your coffee warm. And when you're ready, make your way back to the front. We'll release this left leg, but we'll keep the knee bent. We'll bend into our right knee as well. And then grab onto the backs of your legs, gently start to roll yourself back. And this time, hug your knees in towards your chest, wrapping your arms around like we did earlier. Release your head down to the floor and just gently start to rock yourself from side to side. You could grab onto your knees and just draw little circles, massaging your lower back to the floor. Coming to stillness, placing feet down on the floor with your knees bent like how we started. Bring right knee into the chest, and then see if you can grab onto the outside of your foot with your right hand. If you can't, that's all good. Just grab onto the back of the thigh. We want to reach our foot up towards the ceiling, bending at our knee. So you can always bring your hand to the inside of your foot as well. Left hand can just be down on your left hip or wherever is comfortable. What we want to do is find a little bit of movement. So we start to bend our knee more and send your heel back down to the floor. And then start to straighten into your leg, reach that heel up towards the ceiling. So a couple more times, we'll bend at the knee, and then we'll extend. Just going at your own rhythm, your own pace, kind of similar to the one we did on our knees. To really drive the movement through your foot and your heel rather than your hand. Your hand is just adding a little bit of extra resistance. So another way to really massage through the tissues on the back of our leg. Giving ourselves a little bit of a massage. And then when you're ready, we'll gently release, bend that knee, and lower your foot back down to the floor. Swapping sides when you're ready. Lift your left foot up, grab onto your foot or back of your leg, wherever's comfortable, and then do the same. Start to bend and extend. We're really feeling that engagement on the back of your leg, massaging into the tissues. So we're really massaging into the connective tissue that surrounds all our muscles, helping us be a little more flexible, a little more mobile. You may even notice it might feel a little bit different on this side. And that's totally normal. We are not made equally on each of our sides. Start to release, we'll lower that foot all the way down to the floor, bending both knees. Hands come down towards your heels. Start to lower, or we'll start to wrap our right foot underneath our left leg, placing your foot in towards your left hand, and then lying your right leg down on the floor with your knee bent. I know it's a little bit confusing. So you can stay here. So you might even feel this already on the top of your right hip. To deepen into it more, you could start to lift this left foot up onto the ear so you bend into your knee. Deepening into it even a little bit more, you could grab onto this leg with your right hand and hug your knee in towards your chest. Finding somewhere comfortable, maintaining quality of breath. Gently start to release the leg if it was lifted. Release the right foot back to the floor with the knee bent, and then we'll swap sides. Left foot into your right hand. We're bending our knee. We're lying that leg along the floor. This is where you could stay. Or maybe right foot lifts into the ear. And then another option on top of that, left hand grabs onto your knee, and then you pull this knee back towards your chest, deepening that stretch on the top of your left hip. Maybe even feel it running down your leg into the quads. Start to release. Lower that foot to the floor. Release your left foot. Then we'll start to extend our legs all the way along the floor. And then reach your hands above your head along the floor. Take a deep inhale. We'll stretch the right side of the body. So point your right toes, really reach through your right fingers. And then we'll soften into the mat. When you're ready, big inhale, left side. Left fingers all the way down to your toes. And then softening into your mat. Take another deep inhale last time. Both sides, fingers, toes. You can even start to rotate out your wrists or your ankles. You can stretch your face. You could squish it in nice and tight. So then have a bit of a yawn. And then when you're ready, soften yourself in towards your mat. We'll start to place one hand on the belly and then one on your heart. You can close your eyes here if you wish. Really allowing yourself to soften into your mat. Softening down your eyes, your jaw, your shoulders. All the way down to your feet. So maybe just allowing them to roll out to the side. You could even bring your feet a little wider to the edges of your mat. Take this time to really connect in with your breath. Lengthening your inhale, filling up your belly, your lower lungs. As you exhale, allow yourself to completely let it go. With every exhale, allowing yourself to soften a little more in towards your mat. Taking this time to give yourself gratitude. Taking this time out of your day for yourself. Thanking your mind and your body for all the amazing things you can achieve. Allowing yourself to connect with your inner peace. A peacefulness that can only be found within. Back into the room you're in, into your space. Maybe start to wiggle your fingers, your toes, creating a little movement back in the body. And then in your own time, start to hug your knees in towards your chest, wrapping your arms around. You could start to rock from side to side or draw those little circles. Like we did earlier, grab onto the backs of your legs and start to gently rock yourself up and down your spine, maybe a couple of times. Once again, take a little bit of a massage and then come up with your knees bent and then bring yourself into a comfortable seated position of choice. And then when you're ready, we'll take a deep inhale, reach your hands above your head, and then we'll exhale them back down. Inhale to reach up. Exhaling back down. One more big inhale up. This time we'll exhale, hands to our heart center. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Open to any feedback, and sorry about the dogs if they disrupted you in any way.